With a can-do attitude and the right tools, anything is possible. You just have to dream big and start building your dreams. Every dream starts with a little inspiration, an epiphany, a vision, but more importantly, the motivation to take action. Everyone's dreams are different. Mine, yours, everyone's. A lot will say they don't want to die with dreams, they want to die with memories. You only achieve what you commit to. It's not going to happen overnight, but over time, the same hard work, the dream begins to build. Join us on this ride as I share my dream and my journey with you. But more than anything, I want you to get inspired too. Get out there and start building your dreams. We started this journey alone, but along the way we forged relationships with many of the best in the industry, and I want to thank them for their support and generosity. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. John here. It's time to start building our dreams. And that's exactly what we've done with Project Rampage over the last 2 years. And we're picking up a new build partner for this. We're still keeping Synergy and Clayton Off-Road and all the others, but we've got Steer Smarts, okay? One thing the other companies don't make is a heavy-duty sway bar. And Big Booty Judy, aka Project Rampage here, when we get passed by a semi-truck, she gets a little bit loose on the interstate, and hopefully this will help firm it up. The little half-inch sway bar or whatever that comes with this, she's just not enough. And this one from Steer Smarts is 100% designed for your Jeep Gladiator. They know it's for the Overlander, so they designed it to handle that extra load side to side, as well as help with your on-street performance and not kill your off-road performance. So Project Rampage a little bit heavier than most. The other thing that's a little bit different about Project Rampage is we do have the Currie Extreme 60s, both front and rear. We are going to install the rear Currie 60 skid plate because we already got one up front. We paid a lot of money for these axles and we want to protect them. So we've got our Currie skid plate back here. And first we're going to start off with the sway bar. We'll put that in. I'm going to show you exactly how it would go with a normal Gladiator, and then we'll figure out if there's any differences with the Extreme 60 for you guys out there already on tons and 40s. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. So the first thing we got to do to take the sway bar out on the Clayton kit, we need our, I think this is a 5mm wrench, and our ratchet here. We got our ratcheting wrench. So in the middle we've just got a 5mm hex key. We're using an 18mm ratchet to break this loose. Alright, once you get that loose, hang on your hex key, pull that out, and you can just always put your nut back on, and that's out of the way. And then up here in the wheel well, so that's our Clayton reinforcement bracket that we installed a while back. Go back, watch that video if you need to. But it's going to take and reinforce this on the bottom end of this tab here. The factory, it will split and you'll have sway bar popping, or it could completely shear that off. So it's beefy 3/16 inch steel, so you're not going to have to worry about your top bolt on your sway bar deciding to leave the chat. Over here on the other side, exact same thing. I need a 5mm for the center. Then we can take our ratchet and we can break this one loose. On this side, it's actually a little bit easier. The other side was kind of a pain. Alright, so our nut's loose on this side. We can pull this out. As you can see, our sway bar bushings are still good because that's still difficult to move. And then you got to use these bank spacers on the Currie Extreme 60 because the sway bar, the cover's way too close. So one thing I want to double check is when we install the new one is that we got plenty of space between the sway bar and a Currie cover. So it's just another one of those things we got to play around with. That's while we're in here. So we do have the bank spacer with the Extreme 60. Now these are welded on just like factory plates. We do have a couple extra threads, so even if we need to add the extra spacer in there, it's not highly recommended, but we'll see how close it gets with the factory sway bar. There's not much room for error, and I think ours has slid around some, as you can see. The little pinched on, clamped on limiters that keep it from moving side to side, as you can see, they've moved quite a bit because we get a little flexing, a little bit of moving around on the trail. But I believe these are, I don't know if they're urethane bushings or not, but we're going to pull this out. We just need to use a 9/16 socket, unbolt this, the 2 bolts here, top and bottom, on both sides. Sway bar comes right out. So we're just going to take and pull our sway bar loose, make sure we're going the right direction, break it free always by hand, and then we'll apply some power to take it loose all the way. So these bolts are a little bit longer than the factory bolts. That one to the side. Alright, we'll get our spacer out. Those 2 bolts there come to the other side, same thing on this side. Make sure it doesn't hit you in the shin. As you can see here, this is a bank spacer. It's just a little, 1-inch piece of aluminum, goes between the sway bar, end links, and the axle. To move that factory sway bar out, you would need these if you're doing a Currie axle. Guys, time for a nerd moment. So I had my fancy digital dial caliper I would show you, but here we go. We'll go to a thick part, maybe down here, because it does change pitch a little bit for an inch, 0.85 inches. So not even a full inch, because here's our 1-inch mark. So, or you can look at it as like 52 64ths. That's giving it a little bit. Or even if you want 53 54 64ths. Let's do the math on that. So 54 64ths. Alright guys, so we did the math on 54 64ths, and it's telling us about the same thing, so 0.84 of an inch. Now when we come over to the steer smarts, we'll do it at the same spot, and there you have, what is that, like 1 and 9 64ths. So let's see what 1 and 9 64ths looks like. So 9 divided by 64 plus 1. So you're going to 1.14. So 1.14 versus 0.84. So that's significantly thicker. So at the end of the day, if you got a big heavy Jeep, would you rather have this sway bar or would you rather have this sway bar? Me, I think this one. So let's get this thing bolted in and put together. So let's go ahead and pull some parts out, show you what we got. So we have 2 sway bar end links here. They do have grease fittings, so you would want to give these a pump of grease, whatever your body grease is. Those are on there. Hopefully they don't get snapped off by any rocks. They give you some, oh, it's already happy to see us. They do give us some grease here, and these taper open, so we'll just wipe that grease in there. They said use half a tube on each one, so we'll just take, because it looks like ours we've been throwing around here in the driveway, put half of it in that one, take this one out, and put the remaining grease in this one here. Now this is probably like a clear moly grease or silicone based grease. So there we go. Yeah, I don't like this part. I don't like grease. Not a huge fan of grease. I'm going to get that nice and smeared in there. Got some extra, we'll come back to it. Take the same thing here, use your dirty finger, smear that around in there. And once you do this, the cool thing is this little hole lines up, so when you hit these grease points, it's going to shoot it straight in there. So once you get this mounted on, sway bar in there, you're just going to hit it every once in a while with some of your regular chassis grease. So cool. So this is going to go on the outside of that in order to line up. So this welded metal tab is going to prevent, you know, these were sliding around in there, so having that welded metal tab is going to be a good thing. On the other side, we're going to do the same thing. Put our bushing on the outside, rotate it around, and we'll put our bolt-on piece there, and we got our bolt-on piece this side. All right. So if you were going to install this on a stock axle, all you would need is you're going to take your old bolts out, replace them with these bolts and a spacer. So it would go like that. These would simply slide through. You have some up and down adjustment there, and you would bolt that with the spacer to your axle, especially if you got like an ARB diff cover or something thick. Otherwise you'd get a lot of clunking and interference here, and you could break a bolt on your diff cover. So we'll take the spacers underneath, we're going to reuse the bolts we have and go from there. Alright guys, so we're up under the Jeep now, and it's time to put our sway bar back in with our new one. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to hang it from the ends. And so we'll just put an end in there, put 2 or 3 threads on. And we'll hang it from the other side too. That way we get a good idea of how many spacers we'll need, if we need spacers for our application with the Extreme 60 from Currie Enterprises. So same thing on the other side. Put our end length through and just put it finger tight. All right, now this, my friends, is significantly thicker. So hopefully we get enough spacer. I don't know if it's going to be enough, so we can try it without. So we're just going to snug that down. I think we're going to be okay, but let's just try it. And worst case, we'll pull it back off and we'll put the spacer on. I think we're going to be okay, guys. Yep. So with the bank spacer, I think we're going to be good. Okay, so we're close. We are very close to the diff cover, and as it goes down, this is going to rotate up. Do you have enough extra that we could put a spacer in there if we really need to? Now for final assembly, all we got to do, rotate our ratchet the other way and go back tight with our bolts here. And again, that's a 5mm for the Clayton and an 18mm. So we're just going to hold on and ratchet it down. Just give them a little bit of love. I think we're going to be good. So do the same thing on this side. Alright, so once you get done with that, you come back and you would torque these center bolts down to 46 foot-pounds. I've torqued them before at 40 foot-pounds. Just go by your instructions, whatever you feel comfortable with. Instructions say 46. If you feel it's starting to get soft when you're turning with the torque wrench, stop. So that's the best advice I can give you. And then
So there, I pushed it all the way over to this end, and it looks like we're hitting. So as you can see there, it is hitting. So I'm going to go ahead, undo this, and we're going to throw those spacers in. So all we're going to do, and that's why we didn't torque these down all the way. Now for the spacers, do it at your own risk. Ideally you could have some tabs welded in here, but I'm going to take this side loose. I'm going to take my other side loose. As you can see, it moved a little bit there. That's why you get that up and down play. So back this out. I'm going to put our spacer in here. And what we'll do is we'll rotate it down through. So that it doesn't completely drop out. So there's the top one. Pull through there. Pull through the spacer. Get a couple threads on. Pull our bottom out. Get some space. Rotate that down. And then put our spacer in here. So I have to play around with it some. Biggest thing is you do not want to cross thread these bolts. So we're going to just go run these back down snug, not tight. I can already see we've gained a little bit of space right here by adding that spacer into that side. We'll gain a little bit more when we run the spacer into the other side. Okay guys, so same thing over on this side. Bottom bolt, top bolt. Make sure we're going the right way with the ratchet. Okay. Okay. Got both spacers going in. Now, again, this is unique to my application. For a normal Gladiator, yeah, you would use these spacers and you would use the provided bolts that come with your kit. So I think we're started on both of those. Now we're just going to run these down. Start at the bottom, run down the top. That's why you do it by hand, guys. Nothing for it to grab. So we sourced a grade 5 bolt we just happen to have. A little bit longer than this one. We're going to have to go to Ace Hardware or somewhere and get a grade 8 that is this thread pitch and everything else, and probably about a ½ inch longer than these. We're going to put the other ones down, but they're flush. I don't like flush bolts on projects like this. So we're definitely going to replace this grade 5 with a grade 8, and we're just going to run these down for now. Put our diff cover on. We'll come back and we will put a larger bolt in. So So on both sides now we have the spacers with the larger banks part, and then we've got our bolts here. And so again, we're going to go buy 4 of these just because of the way the Currie axle is cut. It's a standard bolt, it's not the metric bolt. For our next project here, there's a couple of bolt holes already cast into the housing. Got one here, you have one here, and that's exactly where our Currie skid plate is going to attach. And this is like a 7/32, so everything Currie is standard. Your Jeep is mostly metric, depending on, you know, where the parts are manufactured. So we don't have a leak. We fixed our leak in our last video before Jeep Beach, and so no leaks with the new gasket. And we're just going to hook you guys up over here. I'm going to use some blue Loctite, and we're going to put this skid plate in real time. So it should be super easy to do. Got our packet here. Comes with a hardware kit, and we're going to add a little thread locker to them. So they do have lock washers on here. So, but we are going to use our blue Loctite. All you need is just a dot. Not too much, just a dot. So, got a dot on that one. Throw a dot on this one. Throw a dot on this bolt. And normally I would use power tools, but on a small project like this, no need for power tools. Throw a dot on that one. Ideally, the lock washer is going to keep it from going anywhere, but we just want to be 100% sure. And so we're just going to hold this up here and thread our bolts in to each side. So here's that one. Line them up, get them started by hand. There's one started. 2 goes up here. Good thing is we haven't been through too much mud with these. So, got the front started, and we got one more bolt to put on the back. And what that's going to do is it's going to just give our axle that much more protection from the rocks, guys. And so we got these started by hand with the skid plate. We're just going to run them down by hand just to get them started before we crank anything down. Now you would have to remove this when you do your drains, so that's the only thing is it's going to be extra maintenance for you guys out there. But really only every 20 to 25,000 miles to take this off. And ideally you could probably just take the 2 back ones off, down snug on both sides. We definitely don't want to strip anything because this is into the cast steel housing. So that's why we're doing it by hand.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements.
Alright, that's probably one of the easiest installs we've done on the Jeep Gladiator. And if it weren't for the one spot back here on the rear of the diff, you could almost do your complete fluid change with the axle like it is. So we've got our sway bar installed now. We've got our bash plate installed on the rear of the axle, and I think we are good to go. All right, guys, so we're gonna go do a test drive and we'll see how the sway bar helps out, and then see if there's any rattles or anything, and we're gonna go get some longer bolts for our application in grade 8. Guys, so we're gonna go for a little test drive on our way to get some bolts. I'll tell you right now, we got a little bit of sway and rock, but just even pulling out of the driveway, the Jeep does not sway like it used to. Oh wow. There's not as much lean. The Overlander lean is fun. But yeah, guys, it feels 100 times more planted in the rear. So up here there's a pretty windy section. Take this turn. I didn't torque everything. Yeah, there's nowhere near as much lean, guys. I'm pretty impressed. Up here it's got some undulations. I mean, I can feel a little bit. Definitely more planted than it was before. Usually gets windy. We get a lot of rock in here. I don't feel it anymore. I mean, there's a little bit of sway, but nowhere near what it was. Right here's a pretty bouncy part, so it's bouncy, but it doesn't sway like it was. Definitely feels a lot more planted. So, win for the Steer Smart sway bar. Let's go get those parts. Alright guys, I have to say, with this new Steer Smart sway bar in the back, the Jeep drives totally different. So much more planted. Not the mushy, wavy thing that Rubicons are known for. So I would think that even if you have a stock Rubicon, because the suspension in that thing is so soft, you might want to consider the Steer Smart sway bar, unless you're looking like doing a whole lot of hardcore off-roading, because it feels so much more planted. So definitely liking it. Guys, we're going to run into the old Tractor Supply. That's my other source, so Ace Hardware Tractor Supply for bolts. Go see if we can find some grade 8s in between this size and this size. I picked up some bolts. These are 3/8 by 2.5 inch. A little bit shorter than the long bolts I had, and they're longer than the bolts I had in there. So we're going to go back, try these out, and hopefully we'll call this a wrap on this video. Alright guys, so typically when I would go around a turn, this thing would lean way over. Not feeling any of it. It's feeling very upright, so very happy with the new Steer Smart sway bar. So that's the bolt that worked, but I was afraid it was going to be a little bit long, and so we went and got these, which are just a little bit shorter than this grade 5. So we're going to be using that. Switch over our washer. Guys, so unfortunately that hole is pretty much done for this this side here, and so I went and I had some nuts that came with my kit, and I'm just going to stick those on, and we're going to throw a 14 mil back there just to hold that nut while we run it down. And I really wish I would have known, but they're a 3/8 thread instead of the factory metric bolting straight up to it. So, alright guys, so this was my fault. I tried to reuse the factory bolts when I first did the sway bar. I cross-threaded them, or they were metric going into a SAE hole. So right now I've got a matching nut on the back, and I'm just running this down. So nut's just going to reinforce it, and we got a spare if we ever needed to do that on the lower side. You could, but Currie has a built-in skid plate. So once again, my fault, not Currie's fault. I should have known better. And we'll go to the other side. Alright guys, so I'm a bit of a perfectionist. So this one is slid up high, which is good because you got the skid there. If a rock catches this, yeah, it could rip off the sway bar. This side over here though, I think I've got a little bit because my driveway's all busted up. But this isn't perfect. I want this end up higher. I'm going to disconnect this side here because when I tighten this up, it'll naturally put the twist back in the bar. But we're going to take and I'm going to loosen this side, slide that up, and redo it. Guys, so if you don't know how to take this apart by the time this video's over, I don't know what to tell you. Because we're getting lots of practice ourselves. Put that up there. Okay, get this one's loose down here. Alright, we don't have to fight it too much. Should be, yeah, easily slide that up now. That up. Throw this one up as far as it'll go. Okay, there's that. Okay. Okay, that all looks good. Now we just need to get our end link started. Push through. And we have to pull down to get that end link in, like that. Get our end link nut on. Get that started. Grab our Allen key and our 18 mil. Get the Allen key seated really well. Go to town. Alright guys, so it's literally that easy to do a sway bar. So as you can see, everything's dressed up nice and neat now. We kind of kept it to the higher side because of our skids. If you're doing this flat on the axle, I would just make sure everything's nice and aligned with the factory brackets. We are skid plate installed, and I think we're good to go. Next thing you would want to do is come back, torque everything to 46 foot-pounds. According to the instructions, and I think you'll be good to go. Just driving it already, I can tell a major difference, and I'm hugely satisfied. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed today's video as we installed the Steer Smart sway bar. If you've got a big Overland build, man, this thing is worth every penny. If you got a factory axle, it bolts right up. If you get the Currie 60, you can make it work with some spacers and some longer bolts. But overall, that Currie skid plate, that's going to give me peace of mind if we get into the rocks in the future with Project Rampage. But we're not done. We got some more stuff coming. Rock Hard 4x4, they are sending us some new slider steps. These are similar to what Ozark Overland installed. My problem is I've got these storage boxes, and every time I have to get into them, I got to pull out a step ladder. So having these big steps up here, it's more for function than it is for, you know, looks. Function is very important to me. I want to be able to set up quick, tear down quick. Being able to use full access of the rack up front is going to be great. So look forward to doing that project in the coming weeks. But tomorrow we're headed to Nine Lines Freedom Fest. A video about Freedom Fest will be coming out. Hopefully we get to meet a lot of you guys out there watching. As always, subscribes and hypes and likes are super appreciated. They really do help the channel, and we get to work with some of the best in the industry, and please consider subscribing. So thanks for watching, and once again, I get to share my dream with you, but the true purpose of this channel is help inform, motivate, and inspire you guys to get out there and start building your dreams.